Prewsandvews Podcast. We are back again. Michael and Jefferson decided that he's not going to be in a camera today, sake of he's a chicken, so he decided to chicken out today. So he's not going to be here. So yeah, Prewsandvews Podcast. We are just going to get right into it. It's going to be a hot topic discussion. So Jeff is going to interview me. We hope that you guys take a lot away from this. Yeah, that's basically it. So let's go, bro.
Okay, I'll just dive in straight up. Well, we all know his name, you all know my name, so
Yeah.
that bit is not that important. What we're going to talk about today is about social dilemma.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, everyone is using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, Google. And well, they've all come to have their toll on the world. So we're going to have this breakdown about a documentary concerning the the internet as a whole. So I think that idea was brought up by Michael. He told me to watch this documentary titled Social Dilemma. So Michael, why don't you do the honors of, giving us the breakdown of what this whole documentary was about?
Okay, so Social Dilemma, basically a group of people who worked in social media companies like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that lot. And they came together and they were interviewed by the guy making a documentary. And they were interviewed on the impact, that social media has on the society and how these social media companies used sort of malicious ways to grab our attentions on social media. So the approach they used was the approach where they interviewed a lot of these ex-employees and they went through another path where they used a modern day family to illustrate and showed how social media impacted that family. So in a sense, you could relate to what they were talking about and the points that they were trying to get across. But because you'll be emotionally connected to the story.
I mean, clearly, after I watched it, I could relate, very, very well.
Very well. So they did a good job. They did a good job at that. So even though it appeared a bit too fatalist, it felt like, I watched it for the first time and Charlie, my heart is beating like, I need to get off social media today for uninstall Instagram, for uninstall Twitter. I'm like, 2 days passed now. I'm like, I don't want to uninstall it. I don't want to uninstall it. Let me just find a way to think about it well and see my way around it. So in that sort of sense, they were a bit too fatal about it, but they were still able to get their point across, and that was what's basically important. I mean, you can't have something which is extremely perfect. So at least they did their job fairly well. So yeah, that's what Social Dilemma is about. I hope you guys watch it. You guys need to watch it. It's really interesting.
But look, he's here because he's just going to let you know what it's all about. So you can choose to listen to him and not watch it, or you can also choose to verify for yourself. So we're just going to dive right in.
All right.
What were some of the issues they actually tackled about social media and the internet as a whole that you think, the world should know? I mean, the positive issues.
Okay. So, sort of like the positive takeaways.
Yes.
So, the positive takeaways from watching that documentary was there is actually a problem that a lot of us don't know about. It's like we are oblivious. All these sorts of manipulations are done so subtly. Like they are so subtle that you don't even realize what's going on. You understand? And it gets to a point where it's like the social media platforms, it's not as if they came up with the intention of causing all this damage, but I think all that damage was sort of like a byproduct of technology advancing. You understand? So the big takeaway was the fact that they made you see the problems, the underlying problems. The underlying problems are so many. Like there are lots.
What's your favorite one?
The favorite one will be the suggestions bit. It will be the suggestions bit. I think in a bid for social media to be a bit more not controlling of what you watch, sometimes they lead you into a spiral where you keep watching the wrong thing over and over and over and over again. So take me for example. I went out of a bad relationship, and this was how I related to the documentary because of the kid. So I watched the kid, and in the documentary, the kid finds out that his girlfriend has moved on with some other guy, and then he falls into this spiral where he starts watching YouTube videos, like hateful YouTube videos, Bob. And I sort of related to it because that was what happened to me. You understand? So I sort of went down this spiral where I was watching YouTube videos, like hateful YouTube videos on political issues, like far left and right stuff, like left wing issues, right wing issues. So that was how it started for me. And as time went on and on and on, I was going down this bad like train of videos, just watching. I wasn't really understanding what they were doing. You just see a video where someone destroys another person in sort of like a conference. They meet in a conference and they speak about an issue, and someone asks a question, and it's like the person answers the question in a way that seems like, yo, I've basically destroyed you. But then the person who gets destroyed doesn't understand what what your point was. He just feels pissed that you destroyed him and he got nothing from it. So I was watching them kind of videos, and there was no point where they try to make it seem like, oh, maybe what you're doing isn't right, what you're doing isn't good or bad. It's just sending you down a constant spiral. It be God way he go decide, say, yo, you are going down this wrong path. Maybe let me just push in one little video to see whether maybe you can find a way to change. And lucky for me, I was able to sort of derail from it, because eventually I got a lot more context to what I was watching, Bob. So that was what I connected with the most, Bob. So I didn't end up like the guy when he got arrested in the end. I sort of had a bit more, a good side. But there were a lot more underlying issues apart from that. Addiction was mentioned in it. The algorithm was mentioned. The impact it has on little children, causing depression, and there were so many. So I think my main takeaway was the algorithm bit, but apart from that, there were a lot more positives that you could take from it.
So I would like to ask, so do you think it's the algorithm that's actually causing all these negative side effects? I mean, the addiction, the stress, the, how do I call it? You feeling like an outcast,
I wouldn't say it's necessarily the algorithm per se, but it contributes to it.
But I think there is something, there is a main thing that causes all of this.
What do you think it is?
I think it's us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Because, okay, why do you think it's us though?
We are the cure and we are the poison. I mean, I'll say a percentage of our society are up for the good, and then, and the other percentage are up for the bad aspects. Not that everyone, I mean, no one really, or I'll say some people don't really go on social media or on certain channels on the internet with the perception or with the ideology that I'm going to make this happen, or I'm going to cause people to feel depressed, or I'm going to, they just want to show the world what they think is their highlights, or what
their opinions.
Their opinions. But someone else also looks at it and, why can't I be like this? Or I want to be like that, or I want to, and I think it's all a collection of all these unintentional activities, brings together all these other side effects or aftermaths of, social media.
Okay. Another takeaway that I got from this was, you see, the algorithm bit was leaned a bit more towards YouTube, because YouTube is basically based on algorithms. The other social media platforms, they are based on algorithms, but not so much. Where, like Twitter, for example, it's you based on tweeting your opinions and what you think about. So Twitter, for instance, one huge thing I got from the documentary was Twitter is a really toxic place. If you really think about it carefully, it's a very toxic place because you can't have discussions on there, right? Someone tweets an opinion, right? And in the comment section, everybody is trying to play gotcha. Everybody is trying to prove your point wrong, but nobody is trying to tell you what the right point is. Everything is like, oh, you made an opinion, I'm just going to blast you, and that's how it is. But in a real world, when we're having a face-to-face conversation, that's not how conversations happen.
Yeah.
It's like I tell you my opinion, you tell me the positive bits in my opinion and what you think is wrong, and you explain to me why it's wrong so that I understand. But with Twitter, because of the distance, someone is in a very far geographical location, also in a very far geographical location, you can't see the person. So you are easily able to say something insulting, something harmful. You can easily dismiss what the person says. So in that sort of way, Twitter doesn't allow for having discussions. It's just like all out warfare. I make an opinion, someone comes on, he says it's wrong, that you made a dumb opinion, and it doesn't make you feel like I'm going to give you a good solution to it. So in that sort of way, I would say that Twitter isn't really a platform for engaging in fruitful discussions. I would say it's just an opinionated place. So you don't even need a comment section for a place like Twitter. You don't need anyone to comment. You just need to read it and move on. Because if you feel you can contribute to what the person says, then it has to be in like a conversation kind of way. You have to type an essay where you highlight what the person said right. You have to analyze what the person said wrong, and then you come up with your conclusion. But then you can't type all of that. So you then type something short, and it doesn't come off as like helping the conversation you bab. So I think in that sort of way too, Twitter isn't really a wholesome place.
So what's the best social media for? Having a very legit, formal, wholesome conversation.
I would say YouTube. Hear me out. I'll say YouTube because when you go on YouTube, and I have a few examples. Jordan Peterson, for example, he's a professor, right? So what he does is he has interviews with people. So when he became really popular, he started having a lot of interviews. So these interviews were sort of intellectual discussions. They weren't just like hateful sort of discussions. When you watch some of these interviews, you actually see them sharing ideas, like bouncing ideas off each other. You see that with this guy Joe Rogan too. He has these interviews where someone who is very knowledgeable on a topic comes in, and it's like he's interviewing him, asking questions, also giving his opinions. If he thinks something isn't necessarily right, he will disagree. And so in that sort of way, you watching a video like that, you are sort of engaged, you are invested in it, and you can understand that they are having that discussion to reach a middle ground. So at the end of you watching the video, you feel like you got something out of it. You understand? You feel like, oh, okay, I was able to understand. Even if you were not able, you didn't agree with their points per se, you're able to understand that it's important to have conversations. You understand how to have conversations with people, and that will then translate to how you then talk to other people. So I'll say YouTube could be one of the places where you can have fruitful discussions. You have a lot more places. You have LinkedIn. I'll say YouTube and LinkedIn for me are the places where I feel like discussions can be had on there fairly well. For Twitter and Facebook, not so much for me. So yeah, that's what I'll say about that.
So looking at all this, the impact it has on Africans, specifically Ghanaians, what would you like to say about that?
Ghanaians.
Because
Ghana.
Ghanaians are not really that. I'll say
They haven't understood
not
the
that.
impact.
Okay, a bit. I'll say some percentage of Ghanaians really understand what you're talking about, but not every person. So looking at all these negative and positive sides of social media and then what the documentary has actually brought out of the dark, what are the impacts to Ghanaians?
I think Ghanaian social media is purely based on entertainment. Like, it's purely based on entertainment. Anything you see trending in Ghana, let me put it that way, most of the things you see trending on Twitter is entertainment based. Okay. Then you probably have the odd issue about maybe rape. Maybe someone gets raped and it's on social media and people get outraged and pissed that you have that occasion. But most of it is entertainment and not actually deep intellectual discussions which actually move the society forward. I'm not saying that it's completely Ghanaian social media is completely bad, but putting it into a percentage, I would say 90% of whatever trends on social media is based on entertainment. You understand? So I think in that sense, that's why I think about Ghanaian social media. And we haven't had these conversations where we actually sit down and understand how to go about it. It's like you rarely see a Ghanaian, let's say an interview in Ghana where they speak about issues very intellectually. It's like there's this statistic. I won't say it's a statistic, but it's actually there. It says that 90% of whatever trends on social media,
It's a lie.
it's a lie. Like, yeah, it's a lie, and it's negative. You understand? So you rarely find something which is true and positive trending so much on Twitter. Have you realized that everything you see trending on Twitter is mostly negative? And Ghanaian Twitter is a lot like that. Like every argument is trending. Ghana versus Niger. You see them grilling themselves, and they are like, oh, it's all in the name of fun. But you don't know how someone in Nigeria is reacting to whatever you are saying. You understand? So I think too many negative things trend in Ghana, and maybe in the future I'd like to see a lot more positive stuff trend. But then there's no way you can enforce that, hey, everybody, I want negative things to trend a lot less, positive things to trend a lot more. I think probably as society progresses, then maybe you have a lot more people understanding how to move about social media. If we engage in a lot more then sure. So yeah, Ghanaian social media, too many negative things trend and not positive.
So assuming we were to Facebook decided to quit, fall out. Instagram decided to fall out, shut down their servers. All those social medias we spoke of decided to fall out, shut down their servers. Do you think the world will actually be a better place?
No.
Why?
Because we've gotten so much used to social media that social media has reduced our face-to-face interactions. So it's like you are so much on your phone that you don't even know how to communicate with someone in person. It's like you meet someone and you can't form sentences in your head.
So exactly. So is that negative or that's positive?
That's negative.
That's negative, right?
Yeah, it's like you've been so much invested into social media that you've forgotten how to interact with human beings, and that's how we live. You're not going to live off interacting with someone through your phone like your whole life. Okay, sometimes you need to be able to speak, face to face with people. So I think in a world where every social media platform is taken down, it will be very difficult for people to communicate with each other. Like, it will be very, very difficult.
But I think it'll be very, very productive.
It will be very okay. It will help. It will help us be a bit more engaging. So I would say in the beginning, it would look like everybody seems sort of scared. But as time goes on, some people will be like, oh, let me try. At least let me make in the effort to talk to someone. So I think in the long run, there will be a positive impact to it where everybody is now able to communicate with each other very well and have conversations with each other. But then in the short term, everything will be messed up.
Oh yeah, of course. With that one, there's going to be struggles.
Yeah, there's going to be struggles in the beginning. But then, there's no way it's going to happen that, these social
no, it's just I'm
yeah.
just hypothetical situations.
Yeah, a situation like that. Okay. Yeah. So that also highlights an issue that we are losing our ability to have proper human interactions.
So are you saying we are becoming cyborgs?
Cyborgs.
No, I'll say yes if I were you.
I mean, it makes us seem rigid. It makes us seem very rigid. Yeah, okay.
It's like we're building a symbiosis with our phones.
Robots are rigid, so yeah, it's basically we are sort of programming ourselves to be rigid. So yeah,
So what would be your personal recommendation or possible solutions? To take away this addiction, to take away all these negative side effects of social media. Prior to Social Dilemma.
In the Social Dilemma documentary, when they got to the end, the last bit, where they were like, so what do you think we should do about it? Everybody just went, Did you notice it? Everybody just went, Everybody, like almost everybody they were interviewing just did this. For like everybody, I was so surprised. I was like, so it shows that it's very difficult to come up with a clear-cut solution to say that you do this and do that, and maybe as time goes on, everything will be fine. I think we've reached a point in society where it's like we are too far drawn into social media that it's like you now have to adapt to it. So I think maybe a recommendation would be finding a way to you still use it anyway, but then that's very difficult. Okay, first off, let me take it from the point of social media companies. First off, social media companies, they have to make their business models in a way that we, the users, are not on there 24/7. Because let's say the notification bit about you receiving a notification, maybe you receive a notification that Jefferson Asari just tweeted. Come on and look at what he tweeted. So you pick up your phone, you go on there, you check what he has tweeted. When you're done, it's not as if you're just going to go out and put your phone down.
Oh yeah, I do it.
You see, but for most people, they'll go and see it, and when they're done, they'll move to their timeline and they'll scroll and see what other people have posted. So it's like you were working on something, you received the notification, you took the phone, you saw what the notification was, then you went straight back to
your
timeline to see what's going on, and it's like you just lost all focus. And even there was this point that they highlighted that you expecting the notification and the notification hitting your phone, it creates a dopamine effect in your head.
It's equivalent to someone taking coke.
Yeah, I was surprised. Someone taking coke. Cocaine. then I might as well just take cocaine and put phone down. Like so it's like it creates that rush in your head. So it's like you're expecting you're expecting something to come so much that when it hits on your phone, you're like, oh, what is this? What's it all about? So I think from that angle, social media companies should sort of be able to change their models. They shouldn't make their models seem too addictive. They shouldn't make it, oh, every time a notification comes on, then you take it and you need to be on there. But they need to learn how to be moderate. But that will basically be going against their business model.
Exactly.
Because they get money from advertisements. So they doing that, they would be losing a profit. But to every problem that you want to solve, you'd have to give something off. There'll have to be an opportunity cost. So the businesses have to acknowledge that, sure, in the long term, we are going to lose maybe this margin of profit. But you have a social responsibility on yourself as a company to do right by your users. You understand? Because you have all these companies, not the companies which are not social media companies in real life, and we all learn something called social responsibility. You see them engaging in donations, charity.
Yeah.
So social media platforms, the one kind of social thing you can do is, sort of don't make people too addictive. Change the business model. That's basically it. Change the business model. Don't make it seem too addictive. They can do it. You have a lot of intellectuals in these social media companies. You have a lot of people who thought hard to create something called Twitter and see how it's been successful. So if they put their minds to it and decide we are going to think about how to provide a solution on our part, it's very simple for them to do so. Very, very simple. So I think that will be an angle for the companies, right? Now, solutions for us human beings.
Or should I say, we the products?
We the products, because we are basically the product. It was said there that if you are not paying for the products, like most of us, we are not paying for Twitter Dancing, then we are actually the product. It makes so much sense because they are advertising. Facebook is saying that, is that how many people are on Facebook?
2.7 billion.
2.7. Facebook is saying that I have 2.7 billion people on my platform. So pay me this amount of money to advertise for you, YouTube. So that's basically their business model. So what can we do? I would say our current generation, once we have acknowledged that social media is a problem, it's then on us. I think there's nothing we can do for ourselves at this point. But the best thing we can do, per what I think, is for our kids. It's for our children. We don't want our children to ride on the same mistakes that we rode on. Okay. So I think it should really be a point to parents to really concentrate on children being moderate on social media usage. They really need, because children feel the impact a lot more because their feelings are a bit malleable. They are not strong-willed. They don't have strong opinions on issues. So they could be easily swayed by wrong opinions on social media. And you even see it with little girls on social media. There was this part where they showed the fact that girls feel a lot more depression. I think there was this guy who came up with the chat in the documentary that girls feel a lot more depression, than guys. So if something happens, the women feel the impact a lot more. Social media creates this sort of unrealistic expectations on beauty standards. So a little girl sees a really beautiful model on social media with a huge ass titties, big, oh, I want to look like that. I want to look like that. But then you don't know that maybe she was naturally born that way. The woman was naturally born that way, or maybe she went for surgery. You don't know. But then you try so much to be like it, thinking that it will validate you. It makes you feel good inside. But you do it, and in the end, you feel a lot worse because the beauty standards won't be the same forever. will keep upgrading. And you can't tell me that for your whole lifetime, as the beauty standards increase, you're going to keep on following it till you die. You are just going through a loophole of wrong, standards. So the impact, children really feel the impact a lot. So I think parents need to do their best to teach the children about moderacy, to teach them that you can't be on there every day. You need to enforce a number of hours that they can be on it, and some hours you need to be outside doing what little kids do, going out, playing football, chatting girls outside, doing children stuff, not doing adult stuff. So I think that's the best thing, what I think we can do right now. I think we need to pass it on to our children, so our children get it as early as possible, and it keeps on going on and on and on and on, and then we can have a ripple effect of some sort. So I think that's the best thing we can do as people.
And I think that bit I also like to add is,
Yeah, man.
The whole educational institutions, they can also help us in the sense that they should create more environments, they should create more opportunities for people to actually link up physically. They should actually encourage small groups rather than large groups. Because I really do learn well, and I'm effective, productive wise when I'm in a smaller group than a larger group. But these social media, channels, they actually open up every group, and it's like you have so many people, to hang around with, to do a whole lot of things with. Even with productivity, you have a lot of people, around you that you don't know who to actually focus on. You don't know where your impact is leading to. Rather than being rock stars or superstars or models, whatever. So I think our institutions should also help us, and encourage smaller groups, have programs that will actually take students and children, especially children, take their mind off the social media and then onto the human interactions. I think that one is way better than. And I think also parents should limit or should educate their kids on when to actually start using social media. I think the best age will be, during high school. That is after thorough education, after thorough advice on the impact social media can have on you. So basically that's the small bit I'd like to add.
Okay. So basically, to end everything, we would like to tell you guys that you guys need to watch the Social Dilemma documentary. You guys need to watch it. It really has a lot of good bits in it, a lot of positive advice. It's an eye opener into the world of these social media companies and how they work. So I think you guys need to watch it. Formulate your own opinions on what you think about it. You can leave a comments below on our videos. You can DM us on our platforms to tell us what you think. But the opinions that you formed, you need to enforce them opinions. You don't need to just say, okay, this is what I got from it, and then you go back to whatever you were doing. You need to have these opinions. You acknowledge that, okay, I need to be a bit more moderate, and then you make the effort to be a bit more moderate in your social media usage. So
for those of us who think, Charlie, you are using the most secured social media, they are watching.
Yep. They are watching of course. They are watching. They are watching, of course, for sure.
Even WhatsApp, you think it's encrypted end to end, but it turns out they can see it from their end.
They can.
Plainly. So, Charlie, I think that's a small bit we can give you all.
So check out Social Dilemma on Netflix. I didn't catch it on Netflix cause
well, due to a lot of factors which can't be mentioned,
Charlie.
So
I downloaded it from a suspicious website. I'm sure Netflix will be like, hey, you come to sue. They can't sue you, but Charlie, I don't have a Netflix account, but I had to watch it anyway. So watch it, guys, and tell us what you think about it. And peace out.
Peace out. still doing that whole Wakanda thing.